All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at Prime Clava.
Prime Clava.
They're making a splash, especially in Turkey. Over 25 years in the business world. And from their website and what their clients say, they sound like a real consultancy powerhouse.
Yeah.
So what's their secret sauce? What makes them stand out? That's what we're trying to figure out.
You know, the first thing that jumps out at me is just how many different services they offer.
Right.
Supply chain, IT solutions, franchising, even spatial design.
Wow.
It's like they've got an answer for every business problem you could think of.
It's like a one-stop shop to make your business better.
Exactly.
And it's not like they're just dipping their toes in these areas.
Yeah.
They've got 25 years of experience to back it up.
That's right.
But what does all that experience really mean for their clients?
Well, think about it this way. They've seen it all.
Yeah.
The ups and downs of the Turkish economy, how the market changes, all the new technology. They've been there through it all for the past 25 years.
Oh, I see.
That's not just book knowledge. It's real-world wisdom.
So it's like having a guide who knows all the shortcuts and the traps to avoid in the Turkish market.
Exactly.
Someone who's been there and done that. They can help you avoid making expensive mistakes.
And not just that, but over that time, they've probably built an incredible network of contacts.
Yeah.
Suppliers, distributors, industry experts, you name it, they probably know someone.
That's a big deal, especially in a market like Turkey where relationships are so important.
For sure.
But let's switch gears a bit. One thing that really caught my eye was how much Prime Clava stresses transparency and building those long-term partnerships with their clients.
It's a nice change from some consultancy firms that are in and out.
Right.
Prime Clava seems to really care about their client success. They're all about open communication and working together every step of the way.
And that's not just a sales pitch. We've got real stories from real clients to back that up. Remember Elif Demir, that entrepreneur who launched a successful franchise with Prime Clava's help? She specifically mentioned how open they were and how they really seemed invested in her success.
It's one thing to say you're all about your clients, but it's another thing to actually have people seeing real results, saying good things about you. It shows they really mean what they say.
Absolutely. So we've established they have the experience, the network, and they're focused on their clients.
Yeah.
But what about the actual services they offer? What are those key things they do, and how do they stand out from everyone else?
Good question. Let's start with logistics. They seem to offer a whole package of services, from making storage better and finding transportation solutions, all the way to renting out equipment and even helping set up cold storage facilities.
It sounds like they handle everything when it comes to logistics. I'm particularly interested in their expertise in cold storage. That's super important for businesses that deal with things that can spoil, especially in Turkey, where there's such a big agriculture industry.
It's not just about providing the buildings and equipment. They help businesses make the whole process work better.
Right.
They can look at your storage layout, figure out the best transportation routes, and even help you set up technology to track your inventory in real time.
That kind of control and efficiency can make a huge difference for businesses trying to keep up in a fast-moving market. So what's next?
Let's talk about their supply chain management services. This seems to be something they're really good at. They focus on making sure everything flows smoothly from raw materials to the final product.
Now, to someone who doesn't work in the field, supply chain management can sound kind of vague. What does it really mean in terms of what Prime Clava does?
Imagine you're a company making a product. You need raw materials from different suppliers, you need to manage your inventory, plan production schedules, and then get your finished product out to your customers.
Yeah.
Every step along the way is a place where things can go wrong.
Ah, that's where Prime Clava comes in.
Exactly. They look at your entire supply chain, find the weak spots, and come up with ways to make every part of it better.
I see.
Maybe that means finding more suppliers to reduce risk, or using just-in-time inventory systems to save money, or even just streamlining communication to make things run smoother.
So they're not just reacting to problems, they're trying to stop them from happening in the first place.
Exactly.
It's starting to make sense why Prime Clava has such a good reputation in Turkey. They seem to get how everything in a business is connected and how important it is to solve problems in a way that considers the whole picture.
But we're just scratching the surface here. There's still so much more to uncover.
You're right. Prime Clava also helps with franchising, spatial design, and they even have real estate services focused on the logistics and industrial sectors.
It's almost like they do a little bit of everything. But instead of seeming all over the place, they've somehow created this system of services where everything fits together.
I'm really curious to dig deeper into those other services, especially their spatial design work. It seems a bit unexpected for a company that's so focused on things like logistics and supply chain management.
I agree. It's a really interesting part of what they offer, and I want to understand how it fits into their overall approach. Let's explore that in the next part of our deep dive.
It sounds good to me.
So we were talking about how many different services Prime Clava offers, right? You don't see a firm blending logistics with something like spatial design every day.
It's like they're breaking the mold of what a traditional consultancy firm is supposed to be.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the spatial design thing. What's the idea behind it? Why is it important for businesses? And how does Prime Clava approach it?
Well, think about walking into a store, a factory, even an office. The way the space is designed.
Yeah.
The layout, the lights, the colors, how everything flows, it all affects you without you even realizing it.
Okay.
It can change your mood, how productive you are, even how you see the brand.
So you're saying a well-designed space can actually make employees happier and boost sales. That's pretty interesting.
Exactly. And Prime Clava seems to really get this. They're not just focused on making things look pretty. They take a strategic approach. They think about the client's brand, who their target customers are, and what the space needs to function properly.
So it's about creating an overall experience, not just a nice surface-level look.
Exactly. It's about matching the physical space with the brand's values and goals. Think about a tech startup with a young team. Their office is probably going to look very different from a traditional law firm's office.
Definitely. One might have open spaces for collaboration, while the other have more private offices and a more formal feel.
And Prime Clava would design the space to reflect those unique needs and characteristics.
Okay, so Prime Clava isn't your average consultancy firm. They have this big picture view of business, understanding that every little thing, from the warehouse layout to the office design, plays a part in making the business successful.
And they're not afraid to use new technology either. Remember how much they focus on incorporating the latest tech? That applies to their spatial design work, too. They're using 3D modeling and virtual reality to create these really immersive design experiences for their clients.
Wait, so clients can actually experience their new space before it's even built? That's pretty incredible.
It is. And it's not just for show. This technology lets the designers and the client communicate and work together better. You can spot potential problems in the design early on, saving time and money later.
It's like taking a car for a test drive before you buy it. Makes total sense.
Exactly. And speaking of technology, we can't forget about their expertise in logistics and supply chain management. This is where they really excel, using tech to make things more efficient and create seamless processes.
We talked earlier about their advanced warehouse management systems. They track inventory in real time, even using robots for picking and packing.
It's amazing how they've brought automation into these processes. And it's not just about robots either. They use data analytics to optimize everything from the way the warehouse is laid out to the routes their delivery trucks take.
They even have systems that give customers real-time updates on their shipments. It's like you have a direct view into how the whole logistics operation works.
Transparency and control. Those seem to be the key things for Prime Clava. They understand that in today's fast-paced world, businesses need to be flexible, adaptable, and well-informed.
Okay, so they're good with tech, they care about their clients, and they have this wide range of services. But there's something else that stood out to me. Their commitment to sustainability.
Oh, for sure. And it's not just a superficial thing. They've made sustainability a core part of how they operate and what services they offer.
For example, they use fuel-efficient transportation, push for eco-friendly packaging, and even encourage their clients to work with suppliers who are also sustainable.
They're not just talking about it, they're actually doing it. It's clear that they see sustainability as a fundamental principle, not just a marketing trend.
And it's not just about being environmentally responsible either. They seem to understand that sustainable practices can actually save money and make things more efficient.
Right. It's a win-win. They're showing that businesses don't have to choose between making a profit and doing what's right for the environment.
All right, we've talked about their diverse services, how they use technology in innovative ways, and their commitment to sustainability. But there's one more piece of the puzzle. The people behind Prime Clava.
You mean their leadership and company culture?
Yeah. What kind of environment have they created that allows for this level of innovation and success? What makes Prime Clava tick from the inside out?
Well, from what I've seen, they have a very flat organizational structure. It empowers employees at all levels to make decisions and take ownership of their work.
So it's not a top-down kind of environment.
Not at all. They promote open communication and collaboration. They encourage employees to share ideas and work together across different departments.
That makes sense, given their holistic approach to business. They need people who can think beyond their own little area and see the big picture.
Exactly. And they don't just throw people in without support. They invest a lot in ongoing learning and development. They provide training opportunities, mentorship programs, and even help employees get professional certification.
Sounds like they're building a culture of lifelong learning, where employees are constantly encouraged to learn and grow their skills.
That's right. They even have a dedicated research and development team that's always exploring new technologies and coming up with innovative solutions.
So they're not just trying to keep up with the times, they're actually shaping the future of consultancy.
It's really impressive. They've managed to create a dynamic and flexible organization that's both focused on its clients and looking ahead to the future.
They've definitely set a high standard for the consultancy industry. But what challenges do you think they'll face in the years to come? How can they keep this momentum going and continue to thrive in a market that's always changing?
That's a great question. I think one challenge will be attracting and keeping talented people. As they grow and expand, they'll need to make sure they have the right people to deliver on their ambitious vision.
And in a competitive field like consultancy, that's not easy.
Definitely not. They'll have to offer competitive salaries, benefits, and professional development opportunities to get the best and brightest.
But it's not just about the money, right? They'll need to maintain that unique company culture we were talking about, that flat hierarchy, the emphasis on collaboration and constant learning.
Absolutely. In the end, people want to work for a company that values them, invests in their growth, and pushes them to do their best.
And Clava seems to have figured that out. But looking at the bigger picture, what are some of the opportunities they can take advantage of to keep growing?
Well, they're already in a good position in the Turkish market, but they've also said they want to expand internationally.
That makes sense. They have a successful model that could easily work in other markets.
Exactly. And they've already started making partnerships with companies in other countries. Their expertise in areas like logistics, supply chain management, and franchising would be valuable in many different industries and places.
It sounds like there's no limit to what Clava can achieve. They have the experience, the vision, the team, and the commitment to innovation to become a truly global player in the consultancy world.
I completely agree. But you know what I find most inspiring about their story? It's not just about their success, it's about how they've gotten there.
What do you mean?
They've shown that businesses can be successful and ethical at the same time. You don't have to sacrifice your values to reach your goals. Their commitment to sustainability, their focus on building long-term partnerships, their investment in their employees, it all points to a company that's doing business the right way.
It's refreshing to see a company that's not just chasing profits, but also trying to make a positive impact on the world.
And their success proves that this approach isn't just good for the soul, it's good for business too.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about Clava's services, how they use technology, their dedication to sustainability, their company culture, and even their future potential.
We've really gotten to know this fascinating company, uncovering the reasons behind their success.
But before we move on, I'm curious, what was the one thing that stood out to you the most about Clava? What's the main takeaway you'll be thinking about long after this deep dive?
That's a tough one. They've impressed me in so many ways, but I think what really strikes me is their ability to adapt and change. They haven't just sat back and enjoyed their success. They've constantly reinvented themselves, embracing new technologies, exploring new markets, and expanding what they offer to meet their clients' changing needs.
It's like they're always pushing the limits of what's possible in the consultancy world.
Exactly. And that's a valuable lesson for any business. In today's world where things move so fast, if you're not moving forward, you're falling behind. To succeed, you need to be flexible, innovative, and always looking ahead.
And Clava has definitely mastered that. It's been quite a journey learning about Clava, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing how they've managed to stay ahead of the game for 25 years, always innovating, expanding what they offer.
It's like they have a sixth sense for where the market is going, and they're always one step ahead.
Right. But as impressive as their past is, I'm even more curious about what's next for them.
Me too.
I mean, we've talked about their global goals and their dedication to innovation, but what does that actually look like? What's their vision for the next 5, 10, even 20 years?
Well, if you listen to their CEO, Haroon Aden, they're aiming high. He's talked about wanting Prime Clava to be a major player on the global stage, competing with the biggest names in the consultancy world.
That's a pretty ambitious goal.
Yeah.
But honestly, based on what we've seen, I wouldn't bet against them. They seem to have a knack for taking those big ideas and making them happen.
I know, right? And they're not just talking about it, they're taking action. They've been strategically building partnerships with companies all over the world, expanding their network and getting into new markets and getting access to new technologies.
It's like they're building this global network connecting businesses across borders and industries.
Exactly. And they're not just relying on what they already know. Their research and development team is always looking at new technologies, things like artificial intelligence and blockchain,
Yeah.
figuring out how to use these new innovations in their services.
That's what I find so exciting about Prime Clava. They're not afraid to experiment, to embrace the unknown.
Yeah.
It's that drive to always improve and innovate that really sets them apart. And it makes me confident they can handle whatever challenges and opportunities come their way in the future.
For sure.
Speaking of challenges, one thing that comes to mind is the competition. The consultancy market is getting more crowded all the time.
That's true, but I think Prime Clava has a few advantages. First, they've got a solid track record. They've been delivering results for 25 years, which gives clients confidence.
And the fact that they offer so many different services gives them an edge too. They can meet a wider range of needs than a company that only specializes in one or two areas.
Exactly. And don't forget how committed they are to building those long-term partnerships. They're not just interested in quick wins, they're invested in their clients' success for the long haul.
That's a big difference in an industry that can sometimes feel very transactional.
Absolutely. And then there's their company culture, that flat hierarchy, the focus on collaboration and constant learning.
Right.
It creates an environment that attracts and keeps great people.
So even with more competition, they're in a good position to attract the best talent.
I think so. But beyond their strengths, there are also some really interesting opportunities for Prime Clava in the future.
Like what?
Well, for one, they can use their expertise in areas like logistics and supply chain management to get into new markets that are growing fast, like e-commerce and online retail.
That's a good point. Those sectors are booming, and they need sophisticated logistics to work efficiently.
Exactly. And Prime Clava is in a perfect position to provide those solutions. They could also expand their spatial design services to cater to the growing demand for workspaces that are both sustainable and innovative.
Yeah, more and more companies are realizing how important it is to create work environments that are both functional and inspiring.
Right. And Prime Clava has the knowledge and skills to design spaces that boost productivity, well-being, and are good for the environment.
So they're not just keeping up with the times, they're anticipating future trends and positioning themselves to be leaders in those new markets.
Exactly. That's what makes them so interesting. They're not content just reacting to change. They're actively shaping the future of their industry.
It's inspiring, isn't it, to see a company so ambitious, so innovative, and so committed to making a positive impact.
Definitely. It gives me hope for the future of business. Prime Clava is proof that success doesn't have to come at the cost of your values.
Yeah.
You can be both profitable and do good in the world.
Well said. I think that's the perfect note to wrap things up.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating look into Prime Clava, and I have a feeling we're going to be hearing a lot more about them in the years to come.
I agree. They're definitely a company to watch.
So to our listeners, if you're looking for a company that's pushing the limits of what's possible in the business world, embracing innovation and making a positive impact, keep an eye on Prime Clava. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring.